Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm excited to present Senate Bill 308 here today. The Kentucky Rural Jobs Fund creates a fund to establish the state to partner with participating federally licensed small business investment companies known as SBICs or rural business investment companies known as RBICs to establish a total fund of $100 million. So the state's portion of that $100 million is $50 million. $25 million of it will be appropriated in year 21 and 22, and then $25 million will be appropriated in years 22 and 23. So the appropriation from the general fund to the rural job fund will go to the Cabinet for Economic Development. Fund managers match these states' contributions of $50 million. This helps encourage more private investment in small businesses in rural areas and opportunity zones like West Louisville, as well as counties hard hit by the tornadoes. It brings investment in small business areas that need it the most. There are safeguards built into this bill. Each fund must commit to creating and retaining specific numbers of jobs, which drive new revenues to the state. If the fund fails to meet these jobs numbers, then the managers are liable for significant financial penalties based on the actual payroll numbers. It's very much in the interest of these fund managers to have their investments succeed, and it's in everyone's interest for companies to grow and thrive. Business owners will tell you that working capital is the lifeblood of any company that hopes to grow and thrive. House Bill 308 brings more working capital to areas outside the major metros as well as some inner city areas that need a boost. It's very similar to the targeting of Trump's administration's opportunity zones. This money will be used for strategic investment like technology upgrades, new machinery, hiring and training new employees. There's a track record of success. During the interim Ag Committee, we heard from an individual from Georgia. His name is Jay Dowdy, Danimer Scientific. Danimer was a small, unheard-of company in Bainbridge, Georgia, that was tapped out with the banks and needed an injection of capital to upgrade and stay competitive and keep jobs. With rural jobs funding, Danimer they were able to help and bring to market revolutionary biodegradable packaging of consumer products. So if you've ever had a package of Skittles, those biodegradable much faster now, and that's thanks to Danimer. Through their success, they were able to take the company public on the New York Stock Exchange. They recently announced a $700 million expansion with 400 permanent jobs. So Mr. Dowdy is a testament to the impact that the Rural Jobs Fund can bring. He grew up in a small town in Georgia, but had to leave there for his career because there was a lack of opportunities. Now he's back in Bainbridge, and the family is with the family and executing a thriving public company. So, fellow colleagues, this legislation helps channel tremendous talent of rural Kentucky to close the opportunity gap. So I urge you to join with me today and with the Association of Economic Development that supports this bill, Kentucky Farm Bureau, our Commissioner of Agriculture, and many local economic development to support House Bill 308. So with that being said, Mr. Speaker, I guess I need to call House Committee Sub 1.
Clerk, please report.
House Committee Substitute 1 to House Bill 308.
Gentleman from Graves.
So if there's no questions, I would move for adoption of House Committee Sub 1.
Motion is for the adoption of House Committee Substitute 1. Seeing none, those in favor signify by voting aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. House Committee Substitute 1 is adopted. Gentleman from Graves.
I'd like to yield to the gentleman from McGoffin, who is the primary co-sponsor on this bill and has worked with me the last few years on it.
To recognize the gentleman from McGoffin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll not belabor this thing any longer. I first carried this bill in 2017. We passed it in the House in 2018. Died over in the Senate. carried it in, I believe, 2019, and the gentleman from Graves picked it up from there. There's been a lot of work that's went into this bill to make sure that this will do what we need it to do, and that is help our rural areas of Kentucky that are in such dire need of investment right now in the rural areas for job opportunities. And this is no longer a tax credit, as the gentleman said. It's a pool. It's basically an opportunity over the next couple of years. We'll see if it works. If it does, we come back in. We can fund this pool and keep it going. You know, I've said before on the floor of this House, we're just looking for an opportunity, a hand up, not a handout, and we have to try everything possible we can. We do things for all areas of Kentucky, and we've been in bad need of this in rural Kentucky ever since I've been here. So I've been a proud supporter of this piece of legislation, and I would urge all my colleagues in the House for vote yes today for this very good piece of legislation to give opportunities in our rural areas, to create jobs and opportunities for families. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I'll yield back to the gentleman from Graves.
Gentleman from Graves.
There's no other questions. I'd like to move for passage of House Bill 308 as amended by House Committee Sub 1.